Welcome back to the WGLNA Season 1 Gold League. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left, the one and only David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube, /WGLNA. As always, if you're not checking this out anywhere but battleviewer.com, stop, close that window, open up BattleViewer for just a more fun experience, more immersive, things you can do during the games, polls, all that great stuff. Still the same Twitch chat as always. And finally, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay updated on what's going on in the league around you.
You can also check out the question of the day while you're there, which is, who is your favorite team to watch this season?
Mine has been High Voltage, just Alex Mathis with those highlights. David?
Mine has been High Voltage as well, and as
So
we clarified
changed.
before, no, still not yet, although some of those early matches were pretty good if people keep that up. And it's not because High Voltage is quote, the best or any of those conventional things. It's so much more superficial than that. It's just quite frankly that for some reason they generate highlights. Like whether they lose or win, they do it in a catastrophic manner. And yeah, there you go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, up next, our fourth and final battle of the night will be SIMP versus Maple Freedom. We have the face-off ready for you guys. For SIMP, we have Laps. For Maple Freedom, we have Morphic. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
Very good, very good. So first off, Laps, I'm going to go ahead and start with you on the side of SIMP. Where do you guys think you rank among the top teams for the season?
I thought I had an understanding until tonight. I thought we had lost to some of the top teams, and then, whoops! Apparently, we still got a lot of competition ahead of us. That was we lost to both those guys that lost tonight. So,
okay. Yeah.
Well, Laps, are you perhaps auditioning for a regrouping of TLC?
Ooh, I don't know. I forgot that I was wearing this. Let me take care of that real quick.
I didn't even notice the River of Blood thing, man. It's right over my head.
I got really scared for a moment.
Right
but no.
over my head. It's all red and black.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago that I was on River of Blood.
I know that's part of why I didn't even faze me. It's like Laps in a River of Blood jersey. Anyways,
Simp has my soul, but Captain Blood will always have my heart.
Wow. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm jealous of Captain Blood right now. He may have lost his first place seed in fantasy, but he will always have Laps. So Laps, while we're talking to you, you did not look like your usual selves last Thursday. What exactly happened?
I want to say that some nerves were rattled. I mean, coming off of two losses, although we got some points out of it against Elevate and RU. Simple Tankers, Synergy Gaming has always given us a run for our money, and they know us very well because we play them often, and they showed it, and they took us to that 9th round.
Yeah, I mean, that's, for those who don't know, there's a long-standing history there. They come from the same clan, and they've always been close matches. I didn't really have a pony in that race per se before it started, but it got so close, it killed me to watch Synergy lose it because they've come so close so many times. But we do have the other person here.
We have Morphic. Yeah, Morphic from Maple. Welcome back, sir. Now, my first question to you guys is, you had a closer match against Game Over on Thursday than most people might have expected. What happened to bring that about?
It was closer mostly because we didn't play our gameplay at all. And we didn't play to the game plan we set out before we started the match. And combine that with slow calls, slow rotations, and just bad gameplay overall. It went a lot closer than we wanted it to, definitely. Because of that, they took advantage of it very well.
Losing a little bit there on the end, but I'm sure he was saying that they took advantage of it very well, and that they did. So if you can still hear us, we have a second question for you, and it's that considering that most of your remaining matches are against some of the top teams in the league, are you concerned about relegation at this point?
It's on the back of our minds, that's for sure, but not really. I mean, we have to go into each match ready and focused on who we're playing and not have that affect our gameplay at all. And as long as we stick to our game plan, what we've practiced, and what we're confident in, we know that we can go toe-to-toe with some of the best teams. And if we play our gameplay, like I said, we will beat them at their own game, hopefully. And like I said in the last interview, we want to show we can compete. And if we stick to what we know how to do best, which is tanks, we will compete and we will win.
All right. Laps, do you have any final words for your opponent before the match starts?
Best of luck. Good to see you guys in the Gold League. I think you do deserve your place here, and I hope you have the opportunity to show it.
Awesome. Morphic.
Good luck, have fun, and it's an honor facing you guys after watching you for 5 seasons in the Gold League.
I'll give my salute a try.
Is that better? Did he pull it off? Oh,
Oh, it was
high five.
It's not hard to be better than what we saw before.
Other
Close
side,
laps,
other
but
side.
I'm sure somebody
Other
else.
side. Yeah, it's fine. Great. Got it. Well, gentlemen, good luck. Best of luck tonight in our final and 4th match. We'll see you in the battlefield. I'm so glad. I really loved hearing Morphic kind of say how, what a cool experience to play against someone you've watched for so long in the Gold League.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be.
I
don't know what I'm supposed to say to
Well,
that.
you were on the other side, right? You were the people who people probably want to aspire to fight against. But one thing I also want to talk about Morphic against that loss, that Game Over that he said, is they came into the match not really playing how they intended to, and Game Over just really did a great job, kind of finding those weaknesses and exploiting them.
Yeah.
When that comes through, what causes that? What causes you to get ready for a match and then just not quite play how you planned?
Any number of things.
Yeah, it
A
could be
little bit of computer hardware problems.
Huh.
People just being off that night, tired, hungry, whatever.
Okay.
I mean, there's 100 different things. So it just depends. Sometimes you just don't show up. You don't play the game that you're supposed to.
Sure. Now, looking at what this matchup they have in front of them, Maple versus Simp. So, a newer team to the league versus a more veteran team. We've kind of talked a little bit, but maybe bring back some of those feelings that you might have. Maybe I should go for, well, actually, before we talk about it, let's take a look at the rosters on both these sides. For Simp and Maple Freedom, David, who are the highlighted players that we should be looking at for tonight?
Well, right now for Simp, the leaders in points per battle are Brodus and Nitz. One plays an IS-3, one plays a 5100. Today, I would expect Brodus to do better. His 5100 play is probably what he's going to do well at.
Okay.
For Maple Freedom, the people to look out for are often Morphic, in some cases Giggles, and in some cases Out of Sight. They all do quite a bit of damage.
Sure.
If you pick anybody for your fantasy teams, those are the ones to look out for. But in general, those they're some of the better players. And I always have a particularly high respect for anybody who plays a Tier 8 and leads the team at the same time, like Morphic does.
All right, well, there you go. Some nice words there from Morphic. Ladies and gentlemen, went to our 4th and final match of the night. Simp versus Maple Freedom, starting out over here onto Ruinberg. We'll have Maple Freedom on defense. Simp going to be on the offense. Let's get right into it and take a look at what do we got for our tanks.
For Simp, in red on red, their apparently usual colors of 5100 and IS-3 and AMX 1390, 3 T54 lightweights and T37. Meanwhile, Maple Freedom with a 5100, 2 IS-3s, 3 T54 lightweights and T37. In my mind, this shows that Simp is going to the southeast corner, doing something we've seen him do a couple times already, with Drynitz setting up in the 0 line in his 1390. So if Maple Freedom did their homework on this opponent in particular, they should know where this is going and head it off and potentially even blind fire out Drynitz, because there's only a couple places he could be reliably, and it's not too hard to figure out.
Yeah, it looks like Simp is doing just that as we have the 3 members for Simp, Overload Prime, Drynitz, and it looks like Crimson Corsair moving to that southern eastern position. Let's see, now it is on Maple Freedom to respond. Veggie, Morphic, Giggles, Bobby also set up. Looks like they are reloaded, waiting for the shots to come out. No one's spotted on either of the teams yet. Looks like there's going to go right over the side. Not quite pushing yet. There he goes. Drynitz and Crimson Corsair finally getting over onto that K0 line. While the rest of the team, Nitz spotting out Mr. Man over here, this T54 in the center. Now, David, something I do also want to point out that you said, the idea of studying your opponent, studying your team and how they play. How much of your game should be reflective of that when you go against someone who you study their map styles, you study their play styles on the map styles, on their certain positions. I mean, how much really during the week do you spend studying other teams?
You should spend a lot of time studying other teams, not necessarily to study their strategies in a way to directly counter it, but to study how they think so that you can think like them, so you can predict what they're going to do. But also to study different ways of thinking in general that can perhaps increase your ability to play and increase your overall knowledge of how the game works. Drynitz,
wow,
wide in the open, out of sight. Veggie coming down.
Putting a lot of cap pressure for Simp. Cap fast. Let's see if it works out for him. Overload Prime taking some damage, but getting someone outside as well. Drynitz backing off in the corner. Now Veggie and Out of Sight are down in that K0 position. Simp deciding to back off the cap pressure. Looks like they're going to try to back up their teammate here. Let's see if that works out for them and how Maple Freedom can respond. Out of Sight taking, looks like, a little more damage than that T4 lightweight. Felix by himself over in the city. Just making sure either know of SIMP is back there trying to flank or go for any sort of northern cap pressure.
We're very likely gonna have a moment here
Right.
as SIMP kind of readjusts.
Okay, so
and
we're talking
Maple Freedom probably isn't gonna make any strong move here. SIMP pulling out, getting ready to go around the other side. They recognize how many tanks are in Delta, so they're gonna come in and cap from behind, force Maple Freedom to make a choice, and whichever way they go, probably the wrong one unless they get moving quicker and they see it coming. Felix stands a chance at predicting this. But anyways, so what we were talking about before, it also depends on who your opponent is. So right now, we're getting to a point in the season where we're starting to see some patterns. People have played the same maps enough that we're seeing things like this, or in some ways how Synergy plays Ghost Town, or how Noble plays Himmelsdorf.
Right, people are putting their brand on their specific maps.
Right, so at this point, sure. I mean, you want to always watch as much as you can to gather as much information as you can to learn from other people's experience as you can, and never assume that something that they're doing is by accident or by chance. I guess it's a different way to say accident, but unintentionally. Now, that may be the case, and you want to keep that in mind at some point, but when you're studying it as a new team or you're studying it as an opponent, you always want to look for any reason why they could have made that call deliberately, what they may have been going off of. So perhaps you can show them what they're looking for and then set a trap for it. Like, oh, they're looking for this guy and this guy. Anyways, SIMP came all the way through the city. Maple has adjusted quite a bit.
And haven't been spotted yet.
Is it enough?
That's the thing, as we see these 4 members of SIMP pushing right on past the cap pressure, leaving just Crimson to apply it. Now, Mr. Man and Felix have to be careful as 4 members are in the city with them. Some spots coming out. Velatio and Mr. Man spotted. Some damage already going on to Felix. 215 in that T-37. Veggie looks like trying to make some shots over there from the side of Delta Village. Mr. Man also getting some nice shots there, I believe, by Androxus over there in that IS-3. Brodus and Androxus just kind of sitting back. Now, David, Androxus is obviously getting some good shots in the position that he's in, but Brodus, what is his main purpose right now?
He can actually fire pretty far across the map from that window,
Gotcha.
and he just hit Mr. Man.
There we
So,
go.
there you go.
Oh, that was Androxus again, but nonetheless, Brodus hopefully going to get some shots out there. Mr. Man taking a lot of damage without giving any in return. The cap pressure continuing to go down. Giggles getting some more damage.
It's Androxus all day.
From Androxus, yeah, just racking up the points. There we go. Brodus getting a shot onto Mr. Man, who's dropped down to now 1 more shot. And now the push from Maple Freedom coming through, trying to find Velatio overmatched Giggles. And Mr. Man, though, extremely low for this battle. Not sure he's going to go from. Giggles actually does pick up the first kill of the match, but Nit's going to respond by taking Mr. Man down. Now Bobby going down to that 5100 to Overload Prime. Giggles still alive, but not for much longer if SIMP has anything to say for it. There's Overload Prime getting that beautiful pickup. And now Brodus and Androxus still laying those shots over from across the map. Dryness taking some shots into Morphic. Veggie coming around that T-54, maybe trying to find Dryness in that 1390. No, he's looking straight for Crimson Corsair to get that reset. Crimson taking some shots at him, but there he is. He does get it. Down to now 1:30. Maple Freedom trying to do their best to buy time. Morphic in a bit of a pickle here between Nitz and Overload Prime. Overload Prime on the reload. 1 more shot. He will go down. Nitz has it. Let's see. He will take it. Taking Morphic down. Now just 3 tanks remain for the side on Maple Freedom. Nitz going to start chasing down Felix here out of sight by himself in the Delta Village. And I believe 1 member, now no members for SIMP are on the cap. They got to be careful because it is now just 60 seconds left in this battle. Looks like they're trying to find Veggie. Crimson around the corner with the shot. Let's see if he picks up. He does. Now we have, oh, it's actually over on the side. Androxus going to head onto the cap over in the southeastern. Double cap going on with 48 seconds out of sight. Needs to run and live as long as he can. Not sure if he can do it though. Nitz finding Felix is just out of sight. The remains. Brodus and Androxus should push in fairly easily and take this tank down. 33 seconds remain. Now they put the remainder of the caps, dropping it down to 22 seconds. SIMP playing the smart game out of sight, though. We'll go down to Brodus right here. The first victory of the 4th match of the night, going over to SIMP onto Ruinberg. Now, at the end there, you were kind of saying, oh no, were you worried for SIMP?
I thought they were, for a second there, I thought they were actually miscalculating how many tanks they needed to get on the amount of time.
Which would have been a problem.
But as soon as I saw Overlord Prime turn around, it wasn't a big deal.
Either
good. Way, they got all the kills.
Yep.
So Maple free of the Mortal Coil in this instance. just got wrecked.
Well, now looking at
wrecked.
the opening, we saw a very heavy presence into Maple Freedom for Delta Village. We see Simp going on. They recognize that. They decided to pull out without really taking any bit of damage in response. Got to readjust and go. What did Maple Freedom have to do in that moment?
Kill Drynitz. When they sent the 254s down, for some reason, I don't know why, they didn't kill Drynitz when he ran across. And they should have had every gun that they had. Almost all their tanks were right in that line waiting.
Okay.
Should have had every gun waiting there. And as soon as Drynitz got lit, rip. Should have been it. And that should have been the instigation for them to push. But just facing a number of situations that Maple probably hasn't experienced before, getting shot from the window where Adroxus was, and a number of things that only experience and only a lot of study can prepare you for that kind of thing. So really just getting wrecked.
Sure,
simple.
But also another good reason for a team that's newer to the to the league to be able to go back and watch these replays and be like, oh, these are good positions. Hopefully they can implement that before the end of the season.
That wasn't a shameful one per se. Not like some of the other things we've seen today.
Spaghetti is the word of the day, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it. Anyways, there's a whole different. I'm not gonna get into it.
Great.
So, really. It's going to be tough for Maple Freedom to adapt to what they just had. I'm sure they felt powerless throughout that. That it's always something that eats at your team. You want to feel like you have some control over what's happening.
Sure.
Or it's very easy to just continue going on tilt, and it turns into a landslide. But Simp has another route to assault. Maple Freedom has a chance to stop it.
That's right. Let's see if Maple Freedom can turn it on and not go on to tilt before too long, as we are into, ladies and gentlemen, our next battle, Simp versus Maple Freedom. Let's get right into it and take a look at what do we got, David, for the tanks.
For Simp, 5100 and IS-3, a 1390, 3 T-54 lightweights, and a T-37. For Maple Freedom, a 5100 and IS-3, 4 T-54 lightweights, and a T-37. Be interesting to me is if Simp goes to the same place again. Which
see how Maple Freedom react.
It looks like they're doing. Now, if Drynitz gets lit and gets across that road again, then spaghetti is certainly the word of the day.
If Maple doesn't
we're
count.
going to have to issue just an impromptu challenge at this point. We are not allowed to say that word for the rest of the broadcast because it's already been dropped so many times.
Copy that.
As fun as it is, and I love it so much.
I still...
Not just the meme, but the actual food.
Yeah, it's good.
We're getting out of control here. Velatio. Oh, hold up. Velatio is playing. I noticed this last match, and I meant to call it out. It's a hype moment for a lot of people who love watching him play. Notorious for beating up on people who are kind of bad at penetrating IS-6s, which was apparently a lot of the league last I watched in a kind of a mind-blowing circumstance. Crimson Corsair getting lit up.
A lot of
Freedom getting a little bit more closer attention this time.
A lot of damage going to him. Yeah, it looks like Maple Freedom doing a better job of getting the good positions there in Delta Village. Last time this happened, a lot of the tanks were kind of moving around, still trying to find their positioning, but Maple Freedom seemed to have righted that wrong, and now we're set up, again, putting a lot of damage into Crimson Corsair there. Maybe trying to, tell him don't push over the hill too much, but it looks like Drynitz in that 1390 will get into that same position. There. Giggles starting to back out in that T-54. Now looking as Niches over there, again, in a very classic side, making sure he's trying to get some spots. Mr. Man is spotted over there, and also that T-54, some shots coming down the road. Now, David, looking at the positioning of Simp and how Maple Freedom is reacting, is this better than last time? I mean, obviously, they didn't let Simp get away, but it doesn't seem that they're being as aggressive.
It's the same for Maple Freedom because they're not capitalizing.
Right.
Drynitz is literally in the exact same spot as he was last time. And at this point, some blind fire would be warranted. Just check out some of these bushes, man. It's got to do a little bit more homework before you come into a match like this. Oh, there we go. Out of sight. His sights on it. Taking a couple shots. To be fair, though, this line, while it looks very easy to fire down, the terrain has these very subtle changes. And it's actually a little bit trickier to blind fire down this than you would expect. It takes a lot of practice to do it right. Maple Freedom, capitalizing on what we were talking about before. Here's a lot of blind fire coming out. This is a good thing. However, they do need to control themselves. One of the easiest things to do when you're on offense, if you see a team doing that, taking a lot of blind fire, you wait, you sneak up, and you wait until they do a volley, and then you pop around the buildings, and it's like, oh, hey, you're all reloading, and you're all dead. But right now, no real risk of that, as Simp can't really close that distance easily. Giggles taking a super long flank over in the west.
Yeah, along with Felix, who's pushing down there in the spawn now of Simp, putting two members who have put two members on the cap, dropping it down to 27 seconds. It looks like this is the move Maple Freedom hopefully was looking for as they pushing out of sight and veggie down, but immediately taking amazing amount of focus fire from the side of Sim, dropping very low, below half health. Looks like one more shot, he'll go down. Velasio gonna pick it up, taking out of sight down. Now Veggie looks like he's gonna be the next member onto the chopping block. Red shots going all over the place. He did find dryness before he went down, but Mr. Man dropping as well. A 2-for-1 exchange in favor of Simp. Let's see if Maple Freedom was expecting that, or if Simp can now capitalize on being a tank up, as Nitz taking a little bit of damage. Felix and Giggles still in the city, pushing out now, finally. And the turrets for Simp have turned facing inward to the town.
Veggie even tried to cover out of sight there. I believe it was out of sight that got tracked and turned. Either way, a great teamwork from the two of them trying to cover each other. Yeah. Ultimately, failed a little bit low fire rate coming out on Drynets there, but they did pick him up, which is an improvement over last time.
Sure. Yeah.
And learning as things go. But right now,
you're watching
definitely in Sim's favor, even though they are lower on hit points.
Just barely.
But they just need to push into this town. At 5100, unfortunately, I have no idea where he is in his reload. I'm assuming he's reloading right now because given how spaced out those shots were on the 1390, I believe he put 4 into him. And then probably snapped a reload, so he's roughly, my guess is 30 seconds away. But Bobby 301, not running proper mods, so we can't tell.
A lot of shots, though, coming in onto the side of Morphic. Simp pushing density, only leaving Nitz, I believe, on that cap to push it down. He decided to bail off the cap, leaving just Crimson to go through Overlord Prime. 5 members of Simp turning their attention to Delta Village here. Let's see if they can find the overmatch correctly, as Morphic taking a lot of damage. Bro is popping in the corner, not quite finding Morphic, but Androxus has lined up the shot. He has ready to lead a shotgun for Morphic. Androxus' shot bounces, but Brodus now is ready with the reload. Velasio is going to take down Morphic, and now the overmatch will ensue. Simp trying to find every member of Maple Freedom. Brodus dropping extremely low. He's on reload. He has nothing to do. Overlord Prime going to save Brodus by taking Bobby out before he can come over. Giggles going to find Overlord Prime. Mr. Man, though, dropping ridiculously low. Velasio looks like he's going to find Giggles. Back-to-back kills coming up for Simp, but now just Felix remains. He's in the town by himself. 1 minute and 38 seconds left for Simp. They've got all the time in the world to throw a cap on or to take Felix down. Nitz and Droxus, they're the ones who looks like they're going to be the attentions onto Felix, and the rest are just going to go over there and go to cap. Another victory coming out, looking like for the side of Simp. Great job there with that aggressive push into Delta Village.
Everybody incredibly low, sitting here in cap.
Yeah,
but they will cap in time, without a doubt.
Heat Shell with an Artie, just 3 kill him right now, all of them.
So we're just waiting on Felix to either surrender himself to the inevitable, although I wouldn't. I'd try and troll and get as much damage as possible.
To the dark side.
Why not? Plus, you buy yourself a little bit of
yeah, and you get points for people.
By your team. If anybody is picking a tier 6 in these battles, they really need. Should to see a doctor about
Should I remove him? I'm sorry. That's probably my bad.
Felix.
Cap going down 0 now. Simp with another victory, making it 2-0. There goes Felix right at the end, right before the victory screen comes up for Simp. But now let's talk about, so we were kind of talking about, we saw a technical improvement from Maple Freedom there, picking up Drynets, but then in return losing 2 tanks. So was that so much an improvement, or was it just a different circumstance they were under?
It was an improvement in the sense that they got Drynets in exchange. However, doing the exact same thing, I don't know. Obviously wasn't enough of an improvement as they lost, and Simp was doing basically the same thing.
Sure. So
it's something that you just simply put more preparation, more studying of your opponent.
Yeah,
as we described before. But what would be really interesting is to see if Simp and some of these other teams that are getting a little bit predictable keep doing this next week and the week after, especially now that I've pointed it out to everybody.
To the entire world.
Which I'm just going to give you guys a little pro tip. There's a number of things that I point out that end up getting done or compensated for, so probably don't want to keep running those strategies again because it's going to happen. It's really going to happen. Anyways,
if they continue to do that.
Yeah, if. And now, I mean, they could mix it up. Just do a couple different things, and then they can return back to one of these strategies that they like.
All at the mind games.
All they got to do is just add in enough spice to confuse people, so they can't be really predictable. But every time you play a map, you do pretty much the same thing, with a lineup that kind of broadcasts what you're going to do.
Gotcha. But that's another question I was going to have. Like, how much can an enemy team, right before the map even starts, be like, oh, we have a really good idea that they're going to go here?
So it really depends. The 54 lightweight has kind of changed that a lot because it can do so many different things. It's why it's my favorite current tank in WGLNA. Previously it was the IS-3, but the 54 lightweight opens up so many strategic options. You can't read people as well as you used to. But in the past, oh man, see the lineup.
That was it.
Yeah, they're probably doing this.
Really?
And before that, going all the way back into when most of these teams are playing 5v5s and that kind of thing, the tournament format changed every week and yada yada. That was what you did, is you looked at the other team's tanks.
Like that was your skill.
And then you that's where a lot of these people come from, like Mac G and Captain Blood. Well, two captains who aren't really around anymore, but a number of these people, that's where they came from, is looking at other lineups and predicting what people were going to do, and it was all about the metagame. And this could very well be about the metagame. As we've discussed, Simp could run the same lineup and act like they're going to do the same thing, and then do something completely different with it. So
the beauty of mining games hopefully coming out strong here. Ladies and gentlemen, into our next battle, our third battle of our fourth and final match of the night. Simp versus Maple Freedom. Simp up already 2-0. Let's see if Maple Freedom can claw back and try to get 2 wins on offense, or if Simp can continue this victory. Let's get right into it and take a look at what do we got for our tanks.
Simp with the 5100, 4 IS-3s, 2 LTTBs. Maple Freedom with 2 LTTBs, 3 T54 lightweights, an IS-3, and a 5100.
And looking at this, Maple Freedom looks like now going for the Northern Cap, something we actually haven't seen today. People actually going for that. I should say Simp decided to do it on their first battle, but they just kind of blew right past it to find that overmatch. Crimson, though, doing a good job coming through. And that LTTB, your favorite tank so far in the light tank series. He is in a lot of trouble, though. If he continues what he's doing, as 4 members are now barreling down upon him, he needs to find some damage. Looks like he might not get out of here, as Bobby also coming around from the back. Mr. Man gonna pick up Crimson, and a tank going down early for the side of Simp. David, is that just pushed a little too far there?
It's hard to say anything about too far at this point in time. The biggest problem is most of Simp was still in the field, and they could take a lot of damage, but Maple Freedom took a lot to get that. I think that Crimson was pretty much exactly where they wanted him to be.
Okay.
He just got caught in the move when he probably should have been camped at A3 already. That's what they were trying to do with him. For a moment there was a little bit of a chance of Velocio and Felix having an LTDB fight. I got really excited about it, but as it is now, no, we got Brodus, Droxus Nitz, Overlord Prime getting ready to shove the A line, which they'll probably win because they have bigger, stronger tanks. Or Morphic will get wrecked.
Wow, yeah,
that'll work as well.
Going into Morphic. Looks like he's 1 or 2 more shots there. And then IS-3, Brodus gonna find him, evening it out. 1-1 now. A 6-on-6 Simp now still on the defense. Looks like they're pushing up a little more aggressive to try to find out of sight Veggie and Giggles in this town, trying to control this as Velocio coming through. Felix is going to be the one fighting, but Overlord Prime finding Veggie in the meantime out of sight now. Gonna be in a lot of trouble. Brodus trying to get all the shots out before he has to go and reload. One more shot. He will find it. He makes it count. Every single one. Well done for there, finding another kill. Now just 4 tanks remain for Maple Freedom. They have decided to back out. Giggles going down before he can get too far. Maybe trying to find the overmatch against Velocio here in the city, as Felix and Mr. Man going through. David, this might be the LTTB fight you were looking for if Felix decides to back off, which I'm not sure he would, because that would not be the wisest thing.
It's an LTTB fight. It's not the one I was looking for, because the numbers are a little bit unfair, but Velocio taking down Mr.
Oh no, Mr. Man. Right, the Nagatron curse at the end of the day, still reigning strong. Mr. Man picking that one up. Now a 3-on-5 still. The health is massively in favor of Simp, as Maple Freedom decided to give up on that northern cap. It looks like they're maybe looking for the western cap. Bobby, though, taking 400 points of damage in that AMX 5100. Again, not quite sure if he's on reload or not, but Nitz and Overload Prime are coming in the corner, so I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter, as Androxus and Drynitz also going to the north. Drynitz gonna pick up Bobby. It is now just Felix and Mr. Man in these LTTBs. Let's see if they can just draw. I mean, they're on they're on offense, so nothing they can do.
They can kill Brodus.
They can kill Brodus.
I mean, at this point, this is nothing but entertainment for us. There's such a little. Oh, I think he just shot his own buddy in the back.
Oh no, Mr. Man possibly getting a friendly fire off onto Felix as he comes around the corner. One more shot and he will go down. Brodus with 4 shots remain. Let's see if Maple Freedom can coordinate and take a double tap. No, the shot gets wasted for Felix. Brodus trying to capitalize on this. Takes a shot himself, gets a track unfortunately, but he'll find Mr. Man. Let's see if he'll find Felix as well. A double kill to end it up. He does. Brodus taking down 2 LTTDBs on the side of Maple Freedom. Simp now gain that lead 3-0. We were like, oh, hey, maybe they can take down Brodus. And Brodus is like, no, I'm going to show you I can take down
No,
both.
they had Brodus. I think that last shot got caught by this buddy's dead wreck or something because he fired before Brodus. He just didn't close it. And I was torn at that moment because I picked Brodus on fantasy, so I wanted him to get the kill. On the other hand, I love seeing LTTVs kill stuff, even if it doesn't matter.
Sure.
Not even just LTTVs. Any light tank, any like just the little guys
Right.
running around
Swarming,
cleaning up stuff.
shooting. Right.
It's hilarious.
Fun to watch.
Oh, whoa, okay. We're going to stats.
Let's go to stats.
Just for a moment. Not a whole lot to discuss here. Drynitz, 12 shots, 10 hits, 10 penetrations for what could very well be, so far, a league record. I don't think we've seen anybody do more than this, for sure. I think this is the highest amount we've seen so far this season, if I remember correctly. But 3680, I mean,
it's a lot.
Good Lord, I mean, just a ton.
On a single tank.
But in general, so if we're getting to actual strategy there, I don't think it's any mystery. 54s pushed into a position where they had to brawl directly with IS-3s. That's not going to work out, really. I mean,
ever.
54, IS-3. One's bigger than the other with a bigger gun. And in general, they didn't. Once that engagement starts, the 54s need to be trying to put DPM on the same target and reduce the number of guns. But instead, what ended up happening is SIMP's IS-3s just got to pull around a corner, quadruple tap somebody, back up, reload, do it again. And it was like 154 down, 254 down, 354 down, and game.
Well, one thing I also want to point out, Crimson went down very early there in the beginning. Maybe we can talk as this battle is in to play. SIMP versus Maple Freedom. One more victory, and SIMP will go 4-0 on the first map of the night. Let's see if Maple Freedom can come back and try to claim some victories here, ladies and gentlemen. We're into the battle. Let's get in and take a look at what do we got, David, for the tanks.
Well, with SIMP, we have a 5100, 4 IS-3s, 2 LTTBs. For Maple Freedom, 5100 and IS-3, 3 54 lightweights and 2 LTTBs. So still running a little bit light to have that actual brawl. Yep. Probably going into the south now. North really didn't work out so hot.
Sure.
And they would be utterly suicidal to try it again. So, pretty predictable they'll go south. SIMP should recognize that. Maybe they'll do like a little F-road spot beforehand, or maybe they're going to go ultra meta and try the north again, which really shouldn't work. But, I mean, maybe SIMP's thinking like I did. And they're more worried about him going south this time, because going north didn't work out so well last time, and Maple Freedom's so far ahead of the meta, they're doing it on purpose.
Crimson Corsair, though, getting a good spot there on 3 members, I believe, on the side of Maple Freedom, also not getting caught out himself. Now, as we have some time here, David, I do want to kind of ask you about that last match. You know, Crimson getting pushed up, getting caught out, and then LTTB going down. If you are Maple Freedom, and, you have a plan, you're like, all right, guys, we're just going to do the standard plan. We're going to go for north, and we'll start reacting from there. And you get an early pickup. Does that change your plans usually, or does it just mean, okay, our plans should work better this time?
It's more the latter. Just cool, we got somebody. However, I didn't see exactly where Crimson spotted them. If he spotted them coming down the road further than people would see from A6, then it actually should change your plans because the jig is up. I mean, it's like you've been spotted. You've been spotted putting a lot of tanks in the north.
Sure.
Pretty much the best thing you can do at that point is just a retreat.
Keep it
maybe
off,
try and poke around in the south, or just pull back, wait, and then do it again. But you just, I don't know. I don't like the north cap so much because once you get spotted, it's kind of game over for you unless you have some sort of trick up your sleeve. There's a number of ways of doing things with a little bit of change, but as it is right now, Maple Freedom coming around the south. Looks like they talked themselves out of going to the north.
Yeah.
They did, however, leave 2 LTDBs up north, which could be pretty important when they put on this southern pressure.
Okay.
If Crimson, well, Crimson will see him coming. He's not going anywhere, more likely than not. Until they see 7 tanks, he's going to stay there to make sure the north cap is under control. Drynitz may move though, and that would be useful. Nitz kind of in the open as well. Morphic can shoot Nitz relatively soon. Maple Freedom looking a little bit disjointed, very spread.
Yeah.
For what they're trying to do.
And the weakness here being that if SIMP recognizes this, then they just find the overmatch quickly. Correct?
Yeah.
Or incorrect. You could totally say incorrect. That's fine.
No, I mean it is correct. But as with anything in this game,
it's not. And nothing is final.
Nothing is so clear cut as that most of the time. Unless we want to get into driving IS-3s directly against 54s.
Then you can say
anyways, really what it comes down to is there just wasn't a very good isolation for Maple at the time, which is why I was kind of saying sort of. Or so for Simp to get on Maple at the time. So really, it's more about how Simp doesn't have to do anything right now because Maple isn't making them do anything right now.
Gotcha.
But as soon as Maple gets into a position to make Simp do something, then yes, there's probably an isolation they could capitalize on. So you're right in many ways.
Right.
Just
but in that
situation,
situation,
it's a little bit more
not
complex than that. Not
Sure.
that you're wrong.
It's okay.
Just,
I can be wrong. It's okay. Out of sight, though, and Veggie still kind of going back and forth down on this K line. Veggie pushing up a little further, out of sight, staying out of sight as he is remaining unspotted into that bush. Those two teeth for lightweights kind of maintain there, but Maple Freedom, as far as the clock going down 3 minutes and 27 seconds, has taken more damage than Simp, almost 1,000 more. And Bobby on that 5100, it looks like he's going to go ahead and start the cap. Giggles pushed up against Delta Village. Against Crimson Corsair, you're taking a little bit of damage in that LTTB there. Those are coming out from Veggie. Now let's see how Maple Freedom can pull Simp out, or if Simp is just going to respond by pushing over. They do technically have the health lead. A lot of fire going on in Delta Village as Giggles and Mr. Man deciding to go over the cap completely, trying to find the overmatch, and the battle has ensued. Felix come around from Overload Prime out of sight. He is isolated, but Brodus is going to go and find Giggles first. Velatio also dropping extremely low. Let's see if they can pick up Veggie, and out of sight, back-to-back kills against Velatio and Overload Prime, but Brodus and Crimson Corsair double timing to find Felix. Let's see if Dry Nits and Nits in those ISUs can come in time, or if Maple Freedom can gain control over this Delta Village. Mr. Man getting slammed against the wall. Brodus finding him in that 5100. Crimson now in the LTTB, driving around against out of sight. Bobby on the retreat, assuming he is on the reload there. Morphic getting dropped extremely low as well. Nits and Dry Nits double teaming there, and now a 4-on-5 in favor of Simp. Again, the health now over 1,800 in favor of Simp. Now going over 2,000 as Androxus finding Veggie. Just 3 tanks remain out of sight, trying to claw back, finding Crimson Corsair. Let's see if there's anything to do. Dry Nits just needs one more shot into Morphic there, and he will go down out of sight. And Androxus doing a little bit of a dance between this southern house on Delta Village, but Nits trying to put an end to the dance, silencing the music as out of sight trying to find Androxus. Androxus' turret has been turned. Nits one more shot, and out of sight should go down. There it goes. Nits in that IS3 taking that teeth for lightweight. Bobby and Morphic Dillons remain. Dry Nits getting dropped low, but now Morphic is on the reload. Dry Nits should find Morphic as Brodus finding Bobby. There it is, now 4-0. Simp going against Maple Freedom, showing their complete dominance on our first map of the night. What did you see anything different from Maple that time?
Nope.
Okay.
Not really. I mean,
same old.
That's just it. Maple's not ready to play Ruinberg against a team like Simp.
Sure.
Simp making it look pretty easy.
Look very
looking relaxing at least. I think I don't think there's anything to really comment on about what Simp is doing. Perhaps they could win faster. I mean, well, I guess that's always possible, right? They can win faster, but again, they have no reason to, right? They're sitting pretty. Why do anything? In fact, it's stupid too, because that's how you lose.
That's how you throw.
I mean, that's how it makes mistakes.
That's how you ravioli.
God,
did it?
That one hurt. Just deep
I'm so sorry. Going into this next battle, though, again, being 0-4, it looks like we're going into steps. If we have Simp on defense, probably going to be maybe even on offense as far as Maple Freedom is playing tonight. One thing I do want to say, did you see any improvements for those 4 matches coming out of Maple Freedom? Obviously, we're saying how studying, they didn't quite study maybe a lot, or are they just kind of doing the same things over and over?
Nah, it's pretty much equal all the way across.
Okay.
Trying to be offensive on a team like Simp was pretty tricky. Typically, they're the kind of team where they expect to play maps where their defensive side is guaranteed wins for them. It's maybe that's not quite the case nowadays, but it's kind of always been the philosophy as I've seen it from teams like Noble and Simp in particular.
Okay.
Noble's former captain being extremely vocal about it. In fact, just so flat out saying like, oh, we're going to take our 2 free defensive wins on certain maps. So different philosophies, right? Some people want to go to maps where defense is a little bit weaker, so that they can just try and win in an actual tank fight, and then some people want to do the opposite, where they want to go for kind of the war of attrition and the guaranteeds, and
Sure.
both work in their own ways. It just comes down to personal preference and attention span, really.
All right. Well, let's see how both these teams do. Again, going into our next battle, our fifth battle of our fourth match of the night. Simp up 4-0 against Maple Freedom. Simp starting out on the offense onto steps, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right into it and take a look at what do we got for our tanks.
For Simp, we have 2 IS-3s, an Object 416, 3 T-54 lightweights, and a 5916. For Maple Freedom, 2 T-32s, 4 T-54 lightweights, and a T-21.
Now, looking, David, if you are Maple Freedom, obviously no timeouts being called, right? So let's talk about that for a little bit because, we were saying how timeouts can be used very strategically if you have a team who's on fire, you're trying to cool them down. Why do you think Maple Freedom hasn't called that timeout?
I think in this case, probably just recognizing that they did not have the control of Ruinberg that Simp had, and that it was just kind of pointless to go back and discuss about anything. So, actually, some really interesting stuff coming out from Maple Freedom, doing a strong denial of that northwestern part very quickly, which is kind of a risk of the East, but perhaps they knew this was going to happen, or perhaps it was just a roll the dice.
Now, one thing I want to talk about as we're maybe waiting for a little bit of action to happen. We went over last week about scrims and how teams throughout in between battles they scrim each other because trying to get used to it. When you scrim an opponent, I mean, how do you play the same way you think you're going to play on game day, or does that help you or hurt you in any way?
Well, we did. We tried to. Other people don't treat it that way. Many teams. Hold on, we'll talk about this.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming out there as Overload Prime taking some damage from a crossface to Mr. Man Bobby. Trying to get some response. Freedom. There's some more shots. 266 in that T-54. Overload Prime taking 253 in his T-54 from out of sight. A lot of members of SIMP pushing in. Bobby getting extremely low. Looks like, not sure if he was set on fire. There was just getting shot from all angles. I'm not seeing that, but one more shot. He will go down. Nitz gonna be the one to pick that up now. One tank down for Maple Freedom. It's a 6-on-7. Crimson Corsair trying to get out of there in that 59-16. Getting a lot of shots very quickly onto Mr. Man. Nothing connecting. One shot dropping him to about half health, but he does find safety there as Felix, Mr. Man, and Morphic trying to come around the side. But a very strong presence for Simp in this northern corner here. Crimson now taking some more shots as he has been reloaded against Felix, getting a good amount of damage there. Nitz's turrets. Looks like they're turning over there against the valley. Out of sight still way back on the movement. Looking at out of sight's position, was he just running out? I mean, obviously, they know all the members of SIMP are there. Why is he so far pushed back?
Just sort of control to make sure that anybody trying to go over the rail line took some damage for it.
Gotcha.
Maple Freedom kind of seems like they're failing to accomplish their overall main goals of this strategy, locking SIMP above this ridge line, which can typically be pretty good, but right now SIMP is actually leaked out. And they are looking just fine to clean this up.
They're looking at Felix as he takes a lot of damage, getting dropped out. One more shot in that T-21. Brodus going to pick that one up. And now 2 tanks down. Looks like SIMP, that's a trigger they're looking for. They're just going for the overmatch. Morphic and Maple Freedom outside to push against the entire team of SIMP. Morphic getting extremely low. One more shot. He will go down. Looks like it's going to be Brodus to pick that one up. Mr. Man himself dropping very low. 1 or 2 more shots, and he'll go down out of sight, making his way through. Dryness going to pick it up. Another, let's see if they can find Brodus before he's done. Out of sight, going to pick up Brodus, but now just 3 tanks remain. SIMP going to clean this one up. Looks like they're going to get a 5-0 victory against Maple Freedom here. Overload Prime fighting out of sight. Giggles going down. He's in the member of all of the rest of the team for SIMP, and it is just Veggie. Light the fireworks, cue the explosions, as he's going to be the last tank to fall in their final match of the night. SIMP, a 5-0 victory against Maple Freedom here at the end. And what a way to end the night for SIMP. Looking kind of at what happened there, maybe quickly before we kind of wrap things up, you were saying how Maple Freedom had a plan to lock SIMP up north, and it looked like it was working for a moment. Where did they kind of let that slide?
They lost to 54 pretty early. T-32s weren't in position to actually stop it. Just in general, their positions weren't good enough for it.
Gotcha.
I don't know if it's the best strategy in general. If SIMP had progressed more down the east side of things, then that kind of pivot would be maybe good. In general, it's more of an older strategy than it is new, and kind of what you're trying to accomplish there. Not that it can't work.
Just didn't.
Probably wouldn't in this instance.
Okay. Well, again, congratulations to SIMP, just kind of outclassing Maple Freedom there in our final battle of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have missed anything, let's quickly go over a quick recap of the battles. Up first, we had Elevate versus Refuse, where Refuse beat Elevate 5-3, followed by #RU versus Synergy. Synergy beating #RU 5-1. Followed by our third match, which was Noble versus 07. Noble beating 07 5-3. And finally, what you guys just saw, SIMP versus Maple Freedom. A clean victory for SIMP, 5-0. David, out of all 4 matches of the night, any highlights for you coming out?
Oh, man. I'd have to say Elevate going down again to Refuse.
Yeah.
And then Synergy.
Turning it on.
Synergy beating #RU. Both of these just huge whats.
Absolutely. I would say for me it was Synergy, just getting a 5-1 victory against #RU, a team who is looking very, very strong so far in the season. We'll see what that spells for them. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, make sure to follow us on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA. Thank you for watching on battleviewer.com, all of those that you did. And again, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA, where you guys can stay updated on what's happening in the league around you. Make sure to tune in Thursday, July 16th, this next Thursday, in 2 days for these following matchups. Up first, we're going to have for you guys Lamp versus Rival, followed by Game Over versus High Voltage. Third is going to be Elevate versus Synergy, and finally, close the night out, Refuse versus 07 Gaming. Some exciting plays we're going to see from them, maybe seeing how the victories and losses tonight will affect that outcome. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of everyone here at WGLNA, that has been David Williams. I'm Christian Toma. Spaghetti and tanks for stopping by.
I was going to do it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Spaghetti.